How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Ty_Drums here, and you guys are watching Wandering Alcoholics Reviews. And today, we're going to be doing a little on the rocks comparison because, I still have these bottles, been really enjoying them, and I was trying to think of some more ideas, and I thought, well, we could compare both of these on the rocks, since while I have enjoyed both of these whiskeys neat, and obviously I prefer the small batch in terms of neat, I have noticed some differences with the on the rocks kind of way. You can drink these, and I've really been enjoying the bottled and bond on the rocks ever since discovering I enjoy that better than neat. So we're going to see how this goes today. Now, these two bottles here we've talked a lot about in the last few days. We'll go over it a bit some more. At this point, though, I think we know the difference between bottled and bond and small batch. With the bottled and bond, it is made under strict U.S. government regulations that were put into place back in 1897. Those regulations are, it's got to be 100 proof, it's got to be aged 4 years, and it's got to be made in a single distillery in a single distillation season. Hence why this is bottled and bond. This is also 100 proof at 50%, as opposed to the small batch being a 45% 90 proof. This is also aged in charcoal barrels for the bottled and bond, whereas with the small batch, this is with white oak barrels. It does not say how long it was aged for. But it was expertly crafted. There's that. There's a short description for the small batch, so I'll just read that to you guys. Just the thing about the bourbon here. After fully maturing, a limited number of barrels are then specially chosen and mingled to just the right taste. The result is a genuine classic, smooth, rich, and worthy of its name. For the small batch here. For the bottled and bond, this is described as a genuine sour mash that honors Evan Williams' pioneering heritage. So, let's get these ice cubes in the cups, and let's enjoy these on the rocks, shall we? Whew. That one almost went flying. Last two ice cubes in here for now, so we're going to have to make more. But let's use whatever's left in here. I'm hoping there's a shot left in this small batch. There's just exactly a shot of the small batch in here. Oh my. The 1783 small batch. Alright, we got one bottle down. Let's move on to our second bottle here. This one we should have like 3 or 4 shots left, I would assume. Oh, maybe like 1 or 2 left in there. And there we go. So we've got our bottle and bond, our small batch. I don't know if we need to keep the bottles out. I think you guys know which one's which. And here we are. We're going to let these... There we go. Now that ice cube is fixed, we can let these chill for a bit before we start sipping. And yeah, if you guys want to know more about Evan Williams, this bottle has a really nice description I'll get to you guys right now. Evan Williams set up his distillery on the banks of the Ohio River in 1783 and is historically recognized as Kentucky's first distiller of bourbon. There you go. It says pretty much the exact same thing on this bottle, so. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So let's start. We're gonna start sipping on the small batch first. Cheers. Whew. With the small batch, what interests me the most about this, when you have it over ice, is it has more oakiness to it. When you originally drink the small batch neat, you have a lot more sweet notes, caramel, general sweetness, but if you want to isolate the sweetness, putting it on the rocks will dilute that. It'll also give it a bit more kick. It doesn't have a burn, but it has it has a little something something there, as opposed to this being almost totally smooth after the first couple shots. So, not as sweet, more rich and oaky. Has a bit more of a kick, surprisingly. All right, now we're going to move on to our Bottled and Bond on the rocks. Cheers. That's another interesting sip. With the Evan Williams Bottled and Bond, I feel like we're getting a lot more, like, just dynamic flavor. Whereas it can be really intense in the meat shot, I feel like you can really process the sour mash and just the flavors that are in this whiskey when it is on the rocks. We're getting this strong, like, oaky, but also almost like a berry fruit kind of flavor palette. I really liked it when we did the House Targaryen. I know I mentioned that before. This is like a similar palette, but for a lot cheaper the price. But I do like the taste more over ice as opposed to neat for the Bottled and Bond, and I really like how we can let those flavors kind of process and enjoy them a bit more. So with that being said, let's go ahead and begin the comparison process. Let's start round 1 with the flavor round 2 with the body, and if we need to go to round 3, that will be my personal opinion on which one of these we like better on the rocks. Is it the Bottled and Bond or the small batch? Let's get started though. So for the flavor, normally I like the sweetness in the whiskey, so I would go with small batch, but in this case, since we have these on the rocks and the flavor is different, I'm actually starting to prefer the Bottled and Bond flavor a bit more when it's on the rocks. Mostly being we're getting a lot of oakiness out of the small batch when we put it on the rocks. When you get rid of that sweetness, it doesn't leave for a flavor that I desire as much as neat. Let's have another sip of this. Yeah, the more the ice melts and it waters down, like that flavor kind of gets less and less. But I don't think it's as enjoyable. And the flavors, when they breathe, I feel like you're able to enjoy the Bottled and Bond a little more. So round 1 is going to go to the Bottled and Bond. More processable flavor, more enjoyable to me. When you take the sweetness out of the small batch, it doesn't taste as good. So, going into round 2 here with the body. Now this one, I feel like it comes down to the whiskeys themselves. The Bottled and Bond definitely has more of a burn. It's stronger, being 100 proof, and the small batch definitely doesn't have much burn to it at all. It's funny how we get a little bit of that kind of warming burn sensation with the On the Rocks version of this small batch when, typically when you have a few of these shots neat, by the second or third shot, you won't notice the burn at all. So, whereas with the Bottled and Bond, you still recognize the burn from start to finish. It's like a stinging burn. On the rocks, it's still present. So I will say, for the more enjoyable body, I'm going with the small batch. Still, fantastic body. Definitely better than the Bottled and Bond. Easier to drink overall. So we're going to go ahead and give it to the small batch for round 2. Now, when it comes to what I personally like, I have sung my praises for the small batch, you guys know. But on the rocks, I feel like Bottled and Bond has a lot more to talk about. I feel like this is one of those cases where, we can enjoy both of these whiskeys, but in different ways. And I do really like this Bottled and Bond on the rocks, but I still like this as well. This is still a decent option with the small batch on the rocks, so. Am I ready to take some more sips? I might be. Alright, let's start with the Bottled and Bond. Cheers. Still good. Yeah, and when you put this on the rocks over time, it kind of allows us to explore the consistency side of these comparisons, which we normally save for things like beer, things that are, carbonated in the can that, have a little timer. This is kind of the same thing because the more the ice melts, the less flavor we're going to get. It's going to be more drinkable. But which one are we going to feel is the better drink here? Let's go with small batch. Okay. My ice cube. All right, I've come to my decision here. The winner between the small batch 1783 versus Evan Williams Bottled in Bond on the Rocks edition is the Bottled in Bond. I gotta take this one. It's a more enjoyable drink. There is more of a burn, but the flavor palette being opened up over ice just makes it the better drink. When it comes to the small batch, the fact that it's taking away the sweetness from the flavor palette when you put it over ice really is the deal breaker. This is still a strong drink when it comes to the Bottled in Bond, but being able to process that flavor more when you dilute it a bit with that water, that ice, really makes a difference. And personally, I have enjoyed both these bottles. We're going to probably have some new stuff to review tomorrow because we're going to finish these. But I have really enjoyed both of these, and I look forward to exploring and trying out new bottles and Bond and small batches and whatnot in the future, along with all the other shenanigans we're going to get into this year. So if you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like on this video. And thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Wandering Alcoholics Reviews. It's been your boy Ty_Drums signing off, and as always, remember to pillage responsibly, my friends. It's Skull. Take care, everybody.